Alright, hello there. This is the Winning Love by Daylight visual novel designed by me, Keith Franks, from Cutlass Board Games. What we're going to be doing today is just a single from one end to the other playthrough of the game, so you can get a quick taste for what it looks like. I'm not going to be doing anything fancy or anything special. I'm just going to be playing through it pretty casually and reading things out to you as it happens. So day one, you start to notice weird things. You started the day early and wander about the quiet corridors as you walk to your first class. Only a few students are here, as mostly teachers hurry about preparing for their first classes. Stopping by your locker, you grab the book for your first class, then pop into the classroom. After you had detention yesterday, you're not keen to get in any more trouble. Student: oh, you're early too? Yeah, hey Emily. You watch Emily examine you closely with a sly smile. You recognize her from detention yesterday, but you haven't really spoken to each other before. I was hoping I'd get a chance to talk to you after we were in detention together. What did you even do to get in trouble? An accidental fire in the science lab. Her eyes glimmer with excitement as you say the word fire. Fires should never be set by accident. But I guess it's just you and me for a minute. What's your name again? For this game, I'm just going to say Keith. Keith is my name. Oh yeah, Keith, that's right. I'm so bad with names, haha. The teacher walks in and starts erasing the last lesson's notes off the board as the other students slowly trickle in. Laters, Keith. You're too tired to pay close attention to the class because you were up late playing video games again. The bell rings and you wander out slowly following everyone. You spot Emily stopped at a locker in the hallway talking to your friend Maya, who kept you up late last night to grind for loot in the new RPG you've been playing together, Castle Calaroxus. Maya pulls a silly face at you, and then they both walk to the next class. You grab your next book out of your locker and head back into the same classroom. You've known Maya for a few years now. She lives across the street from you above a convenience store. She stands out because she is always carrying her laptop around, which makes the occasional distracting beep, and has a huge yellow puffy coat. You mosey over to your seat and join the other students as they are milling in. Students, I'd like to introduce you to our new student joining us today. A student with a huge jumper and long black boots stands up at the front of the classroom, smiling but a little shy. No one seems to notice that she's very obviously a demon. You try not to stare. This is it's Molly, miss. The teacher sighs and barely looks up from their desk, mentally preparing for the class to begin. Sure thing. Take a seat, Molly, and maybe get that sunburn looked at, yes? The teacher doesn't even seem to notice anything weird about the new student. You wonder if you are the only person seeing them. Class drags on with the teacher droning on about wacky things that happened in history. One student in particular, who I think is pretty new as well, seems to constantly ask questions. Taking a glance over at Molly, you see that she's practically hiding under her hoodie and barely paying attention to the teacher. The bell rings and you follow everyone out into the hallway again to put your books back into your locker. An impatient face appears beside you. You're in my way. You look up to match her gaze, but you're completely distracted by the huge sword she carries by her side. How the hell did she get a sword in here through the metal detectors? Your puzzled and stunned face doesn't stop her from nudging you aside to get into her locker. You watch silently as she throws her things inside, then hurries off. You can't be sure, but you think that the sword somehow just pulled an obscene face at you. Entering the cafeteria for lunch a bit late, you find it is already pretty crowded. We have a few options of who we can sit with here, but for today I'm going to sit by myself. It's the safest. You decide to go and sit at the last empty table by yourself. Sliding your backpack under the table, you begin to munch on the lunch you had packed for you, and listen to the sounds of students chatting all around you. While you were staring off into space, a student you recognize from one of your classes approaches and after a gentle wave, sits down diagonally across from you at the table. She already has big headphones over her ears, but you can't hear what she's listening to over the sounds of the cafeteria. You watch as she pulls out some notes and gets to studying, reading through and sometimes scribbling notes in the margins. After you finish munching on your lunch, you decide to pull out some of your notes and start to study as well. While reading through one of your textbooks, you hear a soft humming that distracts you. Looking up, you see Sophie is bopping along to what she's listening to. Trying to get back to studying, you stifle a large yawn. You think about how you should stop staying up so late playing video games. You end up letting out a huge yawn as you listen to Sophie's humming and... hey, you awake to someone poking your shoulder. You fell asleep on your textbook. The bell just rang. Thanks. Awkwardly, you scoop up your things and slide them into your backpack. Maybe you really have been staying up too late playing video games with Maya. You okay? Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. She flashes you a big smile and waves as she walks away to her next class. You can't be sure, but it definitely felt like it was her humming that made you drift off to sleep. The bell has rung and everyone has slowly started heading towards their different classes. Today seemed to go so fast. You don't have any classes left for the day, so you can go home early. One of the perks of being about to graduate. You take your regular shortcut towards your house through the cluster of trees behind the school. The suburb you live in is pretty rural, so apart from the occasional wildlife, it's a quiet place to be. Your place is on the main road, but a little way down from where most of the shops are, so you're lucky to have the convenience store across the street. As you walk along, you spot another student seemingly hiding behind one of the rocks. Hey there. Oh, it's just a kid. I thought you were a teacher. Willow, whom you have a class with on Tuesdays, turns away from you to pick up a potted plant. Are you skipping class or something? Yes, but shh, don't tell. She blushes a bit. Skipping classes doesn't seem to be something she does often. It's a woodworking class. I just couldn't bear to drill holes in it and glue it to strange things. She shudders thinking about it. As you look closer, you see a strange creature in the pocket of her overalls. You decide not to think about it. Today has been too weird already. I'm going to keep her secret, so don't worry, I'll keep your secret. Thanks. You slowly trudge through the tree-clogged path and get back to your house. Your parents aren't home yet, and it's already started to get darker pretty early in the day. You heat up some of last night's leftover lasagna and carry it up to your room. What should I get up to? You can play video games with Maya, which we've already decided we regret doing. Study because there's some finals coming up anyway. Or we could finish eating and then go to sleep. Today's been a weird enough day. I'm going to study. You decide to resist the allure of your latest video game adventure and open up some of your study books and catch up on some of your coursework. Hopefully this means your finals soon will be less stressful. Day 2. There's magic about. Your alarm goes off and you silence it with a groan. You're a little tired still, but at least you still got the chance to study last night. Are you ready to come down for breakfast yet, Keith? Looking around you quickly, throw on some clean clothes and head downstairs. Were you up late playing video games again, Keith? Nah, I actually caught up on some of my notes. Got finals coming up in a few days. Doesn't sound like you at all. You must be pretty worried about the upcoming finals, huh? I just want to be prepared, is all. Mum pushes across the materials to make up your own bowl of cereal to you from across the table, whilst she finishes up her own breakfast. Anything exciting happened at school yesterday? I met a few new people who I hadn't really talked to before. Anyone interesting? We could talk about Emily, who we met at the morning, or the new student Molly, who we're pretty convinced is a demon, or how we fell asleep at lunch with Sophie, which I think I might do. I decided to go sit by myself at lunch, and Sophie came and sat with me, and we studied a little bit. I best not mention that I fell asleep. She sounds like a much better influence on you than Maya is. Maya is fun, but it's hard to keep up with her at times. She has a lot of energy. Sophie just seems so chill. Maybe I'll try and sit with her again today. That sounds like a good idea. Finishing up your breakfast, you stagger back upstairs to finish getting ready for school and then head out walking through your usual shortcut through the woods. You end up arriving at school early again, while not many people are around yet. You wonder if Emily is here early again as well. No one seems to be here, so you decide to get comfortable in your seat and get your books out for a minute or two of quick study. Catching up on some notes? Yeah, just wanted to get through some notes quickly before class. I'm Alana. I've only been here a little while. I think we've got 2 classes together. You wonder why so many people keep coming to this school right towards the end of the year. You remember seeing her in one of your history classes. She was the one asking so many questions. You any good at history? I'm super interested in it, but there's so much to take in. Want to tutor me? I can help you with maths or something. She pulls a cute face at you as she asks, hoping it'll help you say yes. That could be good. I do okay in history class. Awesome. Come find me in the library after school sometime. Yeah, I can do that. You both smile at each other before settling down into your own seats. The teacher wanders in as a few other students have already taken their seats around the classroom. Looking around the classroom, you spot a few familiar faces, specifically Molly, who was the new student that started yesterday. The teacher then begins to drone on about what will be the final exam. You listen intently, but often you find yourself curious as to what the other students are doing. The bell rings after a long, boring class. Before you run off to your next class, don't forget the prom is coming up soon, so make sure you get your tickets or you're going to miss out. Oh yeah, the prom. I should probably figure out who I'm going to ask to the prom. You follow the rest of your classmates into the hallway to get your books for the next class. You see June walking up the hallway towards you and her locker. You're in my way again. She seems just as grumpy as she was yesterday. Sorry. Go easy on Keith, June. Emily, who just showed up out of nowhere, seems to have your back. June barely reacts and quietly trudges off to her next class. Sorry about her. She's going through some family stuff at the moment. It's cool, I'm not upset or anything. We're actually good friends, not that you'd notice. What you do notice is the corridor has emptied and the next class is about to start. I'm gonna be late for class again. I better run, thanks though. You scoop up your books out of your locker and zip to your next class. You walk into your next class late, to a withering stare from your teacher. As I was saying, K.E. Burchett said colours seen together to produce a pleasing, effective response is said to be in harmony, and humans have the ability to perceive 2.8 million different colours. Therein, it becomes quite difficult to accurately choose a palette that will adequately convey the feeling to the audience that you are intending. Some theorists and artists believe that juxtapositions of complementary colour will produce strong contrast, a sense of visual tension as well as colour harmony, while others believe juxtapositions of analogous colours will elicit a positive aesthetic response. Ensure that you are paying attention to what colours you are using. Often, creating a small test palette and measuring those colours against where they will be painted will give you the opportunity to visualise how they will fit. You look down at the few notes that you've scribbled on your sketchbook. You only signed up for art class for final year thinking it would be a cruisy experience, but you were mistaken. Looking over to the desk next to yours, you can see Sophie vividly sketching a picture of something brown. It's probably too early to guess what it is. You spend some time working on sketches of your own. It isn't long before the bell for lunch rings and you follow the crowd into the cafeteria. Looking around the cafeteria, you notice a few different people at tables that you recognize. And who are we going to sit with today? Molly, who we met yesterday, briefly. Our bestie, Maya. Willow and Sophie. June and her sword. Or Emily, who's sitting with someone we haven't met yet. I think Emily. You decide to go and sit with Emily. As you approach, you notice that Emily is sitting with someone you haven't met yet. Hey. Hey, Keith. This is Kiana. Hey. Emily mentioned she met you yesterday morning and you're a bit of a troublemaker. Haha. Kiana looks off to one side, suddenly distracted. It was nice to meet you, but I have to run off. I have got to talk business with Willow. Kiana slips away, leaving you with Emily. Think you'd be up for an adventure tonight? What kind of adventure? It's a little bit of a secret. Do you trust me? Don't be like that. Come along tonight. It'll be fun. Okay. I promise it'll be exciting. Do I need to bring anything? Nah, just maybe on 7th Street around 5, okay? The bell rings and you head off to your final class. You wonder what weird surprise Emily could have in store for you. You head out to your locker to get your books for the next class. As you settle into your last class for the day, the teacher is already running through the class at top speed. All students are furiously scribbling to try and keep up with the note-taking pace. Okay now, choose a partner to continue working on this amongst yourselves. You look around at who your partner should be. Maybe Kiana, who's sitting at the desk next to me, or Sophie looks like she needs a partner. I think Sophie. You decide to approach Sophie. Hey, need a partner? Yeah. Want to just try and write something together? Oh yeah? I'm not very good, but we can try. So it's supposed to be about our life as a high school student. What should we start with? Now, this is us writing a custom poem, but I'm just going to hit the defaults. Okay. And then what? Also default. Alright. And how do we end it? Default. Sophie, Keith, you look ready to present yours to the class. Come up the front and read what you have, please. Sophie shuffles on up to the front. Ahem. Um, well... The teacher makes a weird face at you both. Before you could receive any feedback, the bell rings and all the students start to pack their things. Sophie shrugs and seems happy with our attempt to capture high school life in words. The teacher gives you a frown as you walk out of the classroom. Well, that's it for classes today. What are you going to do this afternoon? We could go to the library and help tutor Alana, or we could see Emily with her surprise adventure. Right. You wander along 7th Street, looking for any sign of Emily. You walk up to a silhouette that's roughly her shape. Hey! Oh hey! I was beginning to think you got lost. Come on, it's not that far from here. Still not going to tell me where we're going? You'll see. She walks ahead a little bit, encouraging you to keep her pace. You better not be leading me off to some quiet place to kill me. I had thought about it. And decided against it? Yeah, too much hassle. That's a comforting thought. She pulls a silly face at you. I don't kill people, silly. I'm a nice person. You don't seem too convinced, but she squeezes your arm distractingly. We're here. Why are we at the graveyard? It's a graveyard, isn't it cool? Hell yeah. I knew you'd be keen for this. Emily wanders over to one of the gravestones and leans over to read it closely. Come and read all the funny old people's names with me. Yeah, alright. Have you ever come here before? I didn't even know it was here. I sometimes come here to hang out. It's where my dad's buried. Oh, sorry to hear that. It's okay. I didn't really know him that well. I was only 3. Do you want a hug or something? Yeah. While you and Emily gently hug each other, you hear a creaking noise from behind you. Keith? That's not good. Quick, let's hide behind this gravestone. Emily knocks you over behind the gravestone and you hear a noise like a big fire being started. Wow, it just burst into flames randomly. You scramble to your feet to see Emily standing over a pile of ashes. It what? Just groaned and completely burnt to ashes. We should probably go. It's not a bad idea. You both start walking back along 7th Street. This week has been so strange. What else weird has been going on, aside from the flaming skeleton? The new student who's clearly a demon? June with a huge sword? Willow and the spirit that I dared not ask about? This student's clearly... You don't believe she's actually a demon, right? She has horns! Maybe she's just really into the aesthetic. That seems like way too much effort. You haven't seen her do anything demonic, have you? Well, I guess not. I'm sure it's nothing too weird. What else weird has been going on aside from the flaming skeleton? I don't know, just the vibe, I guess. Keep getting the feeling that where we live is some kind of nexus of weirdness. Nexus of weirdness? Like a place where all the words weirdness gets together once a month to play cards. Okay, now you're being silly. It's not that weird here. You look over at Emily with a weird expression on your face. Okay, it's a little weird, but it's not bad weird, you know? A little excitement can be fun. True. Anyway, it's getting pretty late. We should probably both go home. I'm only just through here. I had fun tonight, even if it was weird. Me too. See you at school tomorrow? Yeah. You watch Emily walk down the lane towards her house for a little bit, before heading home yourself. You sees the skeleton burst into flame and is so unbothered. What a day. You settle into bed, exhausted. You keep thinking about the weird events of what happened tonight. Does Emily really think there's nothing weird going on in our town? Or is she trying to hide something? The whole thing with the skeleton was super weird too. Should I be more worried about that? Emily just seemed to struggle off like it was nothing. I wonder what tomorrow will be like. And that's it. That's the short demo that we have so far. Let's skip past the endnotes and let's go back to the main screen. So that's the first 2 days, which is the alpha version of the game, which is what is available for free download at the moment with itch. I'll add the link in the description. What I selected was one of 5 currently available parts. All of the day 1 options you can kind of see there. You're picking a different person to have lunch with and kind of talk to. But the day 2 options features a unique scene with Alana, Emily, June, and Sophie and Willow have an adventure together. Each one of them is completely different. You'll get a chance to hang out with them, see what they're like not in school, hang out and chat and stuff like that. which is kind of cool. And the plans for the future will be more days. The whole scope of the project is supposed to go over 14 days. If you want to read more about it, I have notes for that on the itch page. So that's it. I hope you guys liked having a look at this playthrough. As we do more development for the game and more writing, you can hear my terrible voice acting attempts at reading through for you. I'll do probably more runs, or I might do devlogs or whatever you guys seem to be keen on. But this was just my first run at it, so you could have a look, see what it's like. I tried to do it really quickly so that it wasn't super boring for you. So I hope that's it. I tried to do it at the speed that I read it when I play it. So that's it. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Please download the game. Rate us on Twitch, on itch. Sorry, rate us. And I hope you enjoyed this experience.